Sam is back on the alpha server with the latest version of the Garden update, and this time it's starting to feel like it's about ready to be released any moment. This is the Katapult for Katapult Gaming. Welcome to this latest episode of Hypixel Skyblock, where we go over what we know so far of the Garden update. As always, you can access the Garden by talking to a stranger on your private island. Spoiler alert, the stranger is called Sam. And once you've had the first conversation with Sam, then you'll see their real name, and she'll let you teleport to the island whenever you talk with her. What's the Garden? Glad you asked. The Garden is a private island dedicated to farming. Think of it as Minecraft means Farmville. There are 24 plots of land you can unlock, which allow you to grow and harvest your own crops, as well as many visitors who will give you experience, copper, and special items in exchange for your hard-earned crops. But enough of all this talking, let's go explore the garden a bit. The barn is in the middle of the farm, and it is where you will interact with different NPCs. We'll come back here shortly, but first I want to show you what a plot of land looks like before you clear it out. So if we go just down of the barn over here, we will be entering plot 4. And you can see the little hologram over there, and also in the right side of your screen you'll see I'm in plot 4 with a cleanup of 0%. So if you've played different versions of the alpha for the garden, you'll notice that the little hills are back, which means that you'll have to clear out all of these little grass that's growing on top. Have to clear out the leaves, the flowers, and the trees, and also this extra dirt and grass blocks over here. You'll have to clear all of those out to get to 100% cleanup so you can build things on this plot. Now I'll go at the other end here to show you what this looks like, where I'm at 61% cleaned up, or 60% cleaned up so far. And you'll see there's still a little bit of grass left, but I've cleared out the trees and cleared out a lot of leaves and things like that. So it's going to be a lot of work, probably a good 15-30 minutes per plot to get that 100% completion. But once you do, you'll be able to get the game to build your farms for you, like these default farms here that I chose for the wheat farms. Now the game is not completely cruel. When you start off in the garden, they'll give you Sam's Site, which cleans a tree-by-tree area of grass, leaves, and flowers. And for only 10 copper, you can buy a Garden Site, which clears a 5x5. So what this looks like over here, if you have like these block of leaves, you click it once and it clears most of it in one go, and along with the little grass that's around it and all that. So it does help go a little bit faster than if you didn't have this, but again, it's a little bit of the long, tedious part of this update. Now that we're back at the barn, let's go inside and go see the desk. This is kind of like your store, and I'll give you information on your garden level on top, and you'll see the different progression. You know, at first, level 1, you have the wheat crop unlocked, and then you unlock different crops as you go along, and get Skyblock XP and a couple of different things along the way. The configure plots, this is where you're gonna purchase the different plots of land and where you can assign what type of farm you want to build there. And you'll notice that each one of them has a compost cost, so depending on the order you've unlocked them, they will have different costs. And basically the compost bundles, it's 160 compost to do a bundle. And we'll go over all of this in more detail near the end of the video. On how much it costs for each plot and what order you should unlock them in. Next up is the crop updates. So Here you have the different crops that you've unlocked so far from your garden level. And when you go in, you can unlock the farming fortune bonuses using copper. And copper is the special currency of the garden. We'll talk about it more once we go to the visitors. Sky Mart is the NPC store section of this, where you can buy the biofuel that gives you 3,000 fuel for 20,000 coins, and we'll be using a lot of these in the compost machine. Here you can buy the same site if you got rid of it, and also upgrade to the garden site, which I see now is 20 copper. The Builder's Ruler is a combination of the Builder's Wand and Block Zapper, and it's a little bit upgraded compared to both of them, and combines it all in one tool. You can also buy enchanted books to put on your axes, and I can see this being useful for the different axes for harvesting, for example, the melons and pumpkins and things like that. And definitely the cocoa beans too could be interesting to put on. The next four pieces are equipment pieces, and they all work basically the same, where they give a certain amount of health and farming fortune. And as you serve more visitors, you'll get even more farming fortune out of them. If you don't have any good mathematical hoes, these equipment will be good to get you started in your farming. And finally, the skins will change the look and feel of the barn area. Doesn't have any real functionality, I believe, and some of them cost gems, and some require ever-growing amounts of copper. Then you have the garden milestones menu over here that when you go in, you'll have the crop milestones that you can see that the more you farm in the garden, the more you're going to be unlocking different bonuses. So the next level of wheat, I'll be getting 45k farming experience and 140 garden experience. This seems to be growing every level, so as you do a lot of farming, probably going to help level up your farming XP a lot faster than before this update was around. The visitor milestones is basically the more unique visitors that you serve, and the more offers that you accept for them, the more XP that you gain, and likewise the Skyblock XP you can gain from this. And you also have the visitor's logbook, which lets you see how many times each visitor has visited your farm and how many times you've accepted their trade offer. The last piece is the barn skins. If you can go here, you can switch from one type of skin to the other. And basically, if you click one of these, so let's go medieval out of curiosity, we'll see that the skin changes a little bit, and it's going to change the look and feel of the different materials. So you can see that we now have stone walls, and we're going to have a different color of rooftop and all that. Some of them will make more significant changes to the whole structure, and some of them will look very similar and behave very similarly, just that the overall structure will have a different color scheme more or less, or different texture scheme. And after that's applied, your NPCs or the items you can interact with will be back. Composter is something you'll be interacting a lot with, because this is where you can create a compost that we talked about to unlock your plots. And you're going to need a lot of these if you want to unlock all 24 plots. And basically you can fill the crop meter up to 40k and the fuel meter up to 100k. And basically I should have some fuel left somewhere in here. And if I click it, actually I ran out, so let me go buy a pack of 64. and when you click insert bulk, it'll fill up your meter completely. And likewise here you can either fill it up from your inventory or fill it from the sacks. And if you hover on top of any crop while you have it the compost menu open, you'll notice that wheat gives 1 organic matter, hay bale gives 9 because you need 9 wheats to make a hay bale, and likewise the enchanted hay bale would be the equivalent, I think it's 160 times more, and the tightly-tied hay bale would be 186k. However, because that goes over the maximum, you're not able to put these in. But if I put any of the others, you'll see that it can go in, and the crop meter should have gone up by the amounts written in bottom there. And different types of crops have different base amounts, so you'll notice that a Netherwart only offers 0.3, pumpkin offers 1, and melon offers 0.2, sugarcane 0.5, so it's meant to represent how easy or difficult it is to farm a specific crop. If you right-click the insert bulk, it'll select things from your bags automatically. So in this case, I'll use 371 enchanted potatoes and 17 melons. And you can see that it went up by 19,000 organic meter. So now my meter is full and will be producing compost for about 33 minutes. Because it takes, this will be enough to produce 10 once your crop meter is full. And it takes 3 minutes and 20 seconds each. Currently, there's a slight glitch, as you may have noticed, that when you escape from the composter, the menu may come back again. I did log that one as a bug, so hopefully they'll get that piece fixed, but definitely not a deal breaker. Now let's go to the visitors, and I think the higher level the farm you are, the longer the queue can get. Currently I have 5 in line, and each one of these will have different things that they're offering. So we'll see this one is asking 250 enchanted pumpkins, and will give a decent amount of farming XP, 2 garden XP, 47 copper, and farming XP boost item. But I don't have those many enchanted pumpkins on me. This one asking for enchanted sugar and enchanted potatoes, quite a lot of them, but gives 74 copper. So let's see if 258 should be more than plenty. So you'll see in the bottom that I now received some XP, and my copper went up to 169. So each of them requires a different amount of things and offers different items and bonuses in return. Some of them may not be worth it, so if you've already unlocked one before and you're not really fussy about it, you may decide to refuse the offer and say, yeah, I'm not giving you that many crops for that little return. And like over here, you won't see enchanted golden carrot, which not sure if I have any on my private island or not. Another great feature that this upgrade brings is the farming armor sets. And the first one that you'll probably start is the Melon Set. And this costs 120 enchanted melon blocks. You heard that right, that's a lot of melons, so you'll be spending a lot of time in the melon fields or a lot of money in the bazaar to craft this. But the reason you're going to want to do that is the farming armor sets now give a pretty decent farming fortune bonus. And the melon set in particular lets you farm some Cropies, which you can use to upgrade your armor sets even better. And in previous updates, the boots did not give immunity to trampling, and now I see that the melon boots do. So they don't provide as much farming fortune as the Ranger's Boots now do. These have been upgraded to provide 47 farming fortune, while previously it offered 0. So now it's mostly a question of if you want to be able to set your speed versus getting more Cropies. And basically, once you equip the pieces of armor, you'll see that right now it shows as 1 out of 4 for the set bonus, but it's grayed out and not active. So if I went farming like this, I would not get any of the Cropies. If I put a second piece of the set, and it doesn't matter which piece you put, then for every wheat, carrot, and potato that I farm, I have a 0.03% chance of getting a Cropie. Then if I put the helmet, I'll get 0.04%, and with the fourth piece, you'll get a 0.05% chance of getting a Cropie. So really quite an interesting set of bonuses here, along with all the farming fortune that you get. Now, when you get a bunch of Cropies, basically you can use them to upgrade the different pieces of armor. So you'll see that to upgrade your melon helmet and craft a Cropie helmet instead, you'll need 6 boxes of seeds, and this is basically each box of seeds is 160 enchanted seeds. So definitely a great reason to keep your seeds going forward. Previously they were more of a nuance kind of thing you had to deal with, but now they definitely will have some value. You also need 20 Cropies and a Tightly-Tied Hay Bale, and you'll notice that each piece of equipment needs different materials to craft. So if you head over to the wiki, you'll be able to see all of these. And once you get the Cropie set, you'll notice that the farming fortune is higher, so it goes from plus 20 apiece to plus 25. And now you can drop squashes instead of the Cropies, which are used, you guessed it, to make squash armor. Once you get your set of squash armor, you can get some fermentos, which is needed to create the fermento set. So all in all, it's going to be a great bonus the more that you farm and the more you get these different unique drops and can progress in your farming armor set. So definitely a great layer of progression that has been added, and overall it's a pretty decently fast set, depending on what else that you have equipped and different bonuses. But you can see some plus speed bonuses here that not sure if these came from the ancient bonus or if it was naturally present there. So over here I'm back on the main server, and just to talk a little bit on how you can prepare for the garden update. So there's basically 2 philosophies for this. Both of them are very equally good. If you're new to farming, you may want to wait until the garden update comes out to take advantages of all the new features and benefits of farming. Or you can go the approach I did and kind of over prepare for it. And basically you're gonna need a lot of crops and a lot of stuff to do to be able to breeze through the garden update when it comes out. And so if you look over here, this is my prep chest, which is basically everything that you need to prepare the armor sets. So each level, so for the melon armor set, it'd be this row here, then the Cropie set, squash set, and finally the last set over here. All of the materials you need. It's a lot of stuff, and some of it, like the enchanted melon blocks, were a lot of work and quite tedious to get. Other ones, like the Enchanted Cactus, depending if you have a giant automatic cactus farm like I have here, it's just a question of going in the chests here and getting the cactus greens as they're ready. Other than that, basically you can get ready by preparing your mathematical holes over there. You'll see that I put blessed on all of them. I recommed a bunch of them, still not finished. There's a few still needed. A lot of them have at least their 10 million crops to get to the next tier. So definitely one place you can put effort here in getting all of the enchantments and everything ready for them. The other thing you can do is work on your farming skill. So you'll see that I'm currently at farming 47, getting pretty close to 48. So that's definitely going to help take advantage of the new farming update. And if we take the Abbey phone out, and this is the mark of a true farmer over here, where you have this out, so all the contacts for farming. So with Jacob, make sure that you farm a bunch of gold medals as much as you can if you're able to do them. Yeah, so over at Anytale, you'll see you can unlock the extra farming drops to give you more farming fortune. Definitely a great bonus to get. And basically I'm only missing a couple of Jacob's tickets to complete the plus 30%, and then you can use the rest to unlock the farming level caps. So it's going to be a lot of Jacob's tickets and a lot of gold medals, which gold medal wise I have 32 stocked up, so probably close to overkill over there. And you know, finally over here is my stash of Jacob's tickets, so getting really close to the 1,000 needed for the last Anytale level. One item that's less important would be like a tree capitator or something like that, or a jungle axe, just to help clear the trees faster. And any shovel would do. You know, sometimes something just as simple as a diamond shovel with efficiency on it, just to help clear out the grass faster. And finally, it's probably not a bad idea to stock up on a little bit of money too, especially if you're a regular profile. So over at the bank over here, I have 22.7 mil plus the almost 13 mil I have on me saved up. That should be plenty to help go through some of the more difficult visitors in terms of getting the materials. And then over here I have a bunch of things like the enchanted baked potatoes and some different crops over here saved up for the update, some to sell and some to use. And finally, if you have some agronomy sacks and all that, I upgraded it so it could have triple the capacity and filled it up. And currently working on my large enchanted sack, which not all crops I've worked on so far, but some I'm almost halfway to filling up. So how close exactly are we from the getting the garden update? You can see the list of known issues here. They've been able to fix a lot of them, and you know, there's a couple of things that they've added even in the last few days. So the teleport pads, you can now place them and they work. Same time with the day savers and night savers. The Prisma pumps they're still working on, and then a couple of, I'd say, mostly minor bugs over here. I'd say minor in terms of effect. I don't know how complex or not some of these will be to fix. But I'd say at this point the update seems pretty stable, and I think it's going to be mostly a question of when they feel right to release it. And it doesn't seem to me like it would be a major game breaker if they release it any moment now. Most of the really critical bugs appear to be fixed. There's just a little glitch that I mentioned when you're exiting the composter that, you know, if they never fix it, it wouldn't be the end of the world, to be honest. And, you know, is it worth holding on a release or not? It'll be to the Hypixel team to decide. But again, just from my own experience, a lot of things seem to be really working right. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this update out in the wild. So earlier we were talking of how much compost needed to unlock the different plots, and you can see the chart over here represents you have the barn in the middle, then you have all the plots around it. So you have plots 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the others around it there. And you'll see that I color-coded them in 4 different groups because when it comes to the composting costs, each group is kind of independent of the others. And by that I mean if we look at the group A, so these 4 over here, you can unlock them in any order, and the first one that you unlock will always cost you 1 compost. So whether you unlock this one, this one, this one, or this one first one is 1 compost, then 2, 4, and 8. And then likewise for the second group, doesn't matter what order you open them, doesn't matter if you've already opened all of the first 4 or not, but the group B will always be 16, 24, 32, and 48, and whatever order that you open them in. Group C, you'll see we don't have full data as of yet, but I've been working a lot with Scout Skyler, where I'm sharing my compost with him, and he's sharing the results as he unlocks the different plots. And basically, the first one of this group will take 64, then 96, 128, 160. And basically 160 here, it's actually a compost bundle that you need over here, but I've decided to mark them as per the amount of compost you need to do those bundles, just so we can count compost and run some extra stats easier afterwards. You will then see that the next one is also only 1 compost bundle, then the next 2 cost 2 bundles. And the other ones we're not sure yet how much they're going to be, but once I have more details, I'll put them in the description of the video, or at least put a link to somewhere you can see the full list. And finally, if we look at Group D, you'll see that it costs 8 of the compost bundles for the first one, and we don't know yet how many of the others it's going to cost. So with that in mind, just for the ones that we currently know, if you look at the sum of 2663, basically we know that we're going to need at least that many composts to unlock these plots that we've marked so far. And we're talking about 10.6 million crops required for the crop meter. And if you put it in time, you know, basically it takes 3 minutes and 20 seconds for each compost, which gives 200 seconds, and you would need about 6.2 days just to unlock all of the ones that we see visible over here. So that's 6.2 full, 24-hour days that you have to go and click every 30 minutes or so to process the next batch of compost. So unless they upgrade the composter by quite a large amount, it's going to be a long, tedious work to unlock all of these. So using these as a basis and just a rough guesstimate based on what potentially the other numbers would be. So again, these are just guesses. I don't know for sure how much it is. Once we know, put them in the description below so you have the actual numbers. But just to give an idea that if this is remotely right, we could be looking at over 15,000 compost total, for 62 million crop meters. And, you know, we're looking at 36.2 days in order to unlock all 24 plots. So that's going to require a lot of work. Just that part where you have to be online basically for that amount of time. That's going to be really crazy. And also farming enough crops in order to unlock all of this. And what that looks like, so if we look at the menu over here, basically I put them in categories and listed the different crops for each one. And this is how many crop meters that each item will provide. So if you look at the potato, it would say it's 0.3, but when you look a stack of potatoes, it looks like it's probably more 0.33. And then just for one potato, it gets rounded at 0.3. But if you have a lot more potatoes, you'll get your 0.33 multiplied by the number of potatoes that you're adding to the composter. And the other columns is how many you need for 4,000, which means for one compost. So you need over 12,000 potatoes just for one compost, or 121,000 for the 40k crop meter needed to give you the 10 compost in about 33 minutes. And finally, if we look over here, basically this is based on this number over here. So again, just for the crops that we're aware of so far. So we're looking at a count of just the first 16 plots would take this many crop meters, and so you're looking at a little over 32 million potatoes. So if you only did potatoes, that's going to be quite a lot of potatoes. And then if this number over here, which is 6 times more, about you know, you could be looking at almost 200 million potatoes to unlock all 24 plots, depending on how close or not my guesstimate is. So all that to say, you're going to be spending a lot of time farming these, and you'll see a couple of items like the enchanted golden carrots and the enchanted cookies don't give any of the crop meters. And the Tightly-Tied Hay Bale is supposed to give 186,000, but I think because that's above the 40,000 limit in the composter right now, it's not letting you add it. So basically it's not letting you waste all that extra crop meter that wouldn't get added. So overall, it, you know, potentially could be considered a good thing that it's preventing you from making a costly mistake. But at the same time, yeah, you can see roughly the conversions of all the items. And since we're in the alpha, I suspect all of these are open to interpretation and change, but I think they're meant to represent how easy and how many crops basically per hour that you're able to get of these different crops. As we know, some, you know, getting 100,000 in a 20-minute contest can be really hard, and for some other crops, if you're not in the 500,000 or 600,000 in that same 20 minutes, your chances of getting gold are pretty low. So basically, this is meant to represent that difficulty over here. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please remember to like, share with a friend, subscribe. Have a great day and happy farming!